Victoria Park amidst a steady snowfall. As CTV's Sean Irvin reports, the wintry conditions did not stop Londoners or veterans from turning out.
If the snow was too much for some to attend Remembrance Day at the Cenotaph, it wasn't too much for Bill Weir. The 93-year-old naval veteran of the Battle of the Atlantic arrived early and let the snow pile on without complaint. He's always attended the service to remember the fallen, but only recently he's come for another reason.
First bits of time after you come home, you never talk about it. But now it seems very important to me to talk about it.
And with crowds of everyday Londoners in attendance, remember the special tie.
The bugler today is David Cunningham, and the bugle you'll hear was handed down to him by his grandfather, who sounded the last post and rouse with it over 100 years ago at Vimy Ridge.
For 2 minutes, Londoners paused to reflect. Some too young to comprehend the sacrifice. Others, including veterans from Parkwood Hospital in a line of white vans, have aged enough to never forget. Retired warrant officer Bill Schuessler, a London Second World War veteran CTV featured at length in 2016, was among the few able to stand to remember. Now in his 90s, he knows he represents an important message.
I just can't believe the fact that we made it through. We're here. We're representing those who couldn't.
Also here, Canada's new veterans, those who served in more recent campaigns, some still in uniform.
They do feel that kinship. They have undergone similar hardships.
Seeing this, we return to Second World War veteran Bill Schuessler, who tells us it's imperative Londoners keep showing up each Remembrance Day, even after his generation has passed, to support the new soldiers and their families.
Don't forget. Let us not forget.
That's the part to remember, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
If you didn't have a chance to attend the local service, we have it in its entirety on our website, ctvnewslondon.ca. Also on our website, you can find a photo gallery of pictures that viewers have submitted of their loved ones who have fought. There are some beautiful images. Please check it out. Meanwhile, thousands of people gathered at the National War Memorial in Ottawa this morning to pay their tributes to Canada's fallen. CTV's Ottawa Bureau Chief Joyce Napier has this report.
A biting cold morning, a ceremony to remember the sacrifices of the men and women in uniform. A minute of silence to remember those who died so far from home.
When you realize what a wonderful, free, and open country we live in, it's important to think back about the sacrifices.
It's important for me because I want to help remember the fallen who died and sacrificed for our country, and remember those who served.
Canada's veterans marched as the ceremony began to the sound of the bagpipes on this day when the country pauses to pay tribute to its soldiers. John PREECE was in the Royal Regiment. He served in Holland during the Second World War.
And I was an ordinary boy, young boy, and I had the normal loyal to the country, like all the young boys did in those days. So I just went. And I don't like war. I think it's awful. I think we should do away with war. It was the most frightening thing I've ever done in my whole life.
A day to think about veterans who return home, some broken and wounded, and who need the help of their government, but it isn't always forthcoming.
We're doing everything in order to make sure that we provide a better service for the veterans. But in fact, the backlog is unacceptable and we have to fix it.
A day also to pay homage to the soldiers who are deployed today, and about Canada's military operations like the one in Mali.
We did very well. The Air Force and the medical branch developed a world-class medical evacuation capability that we're going to retain.
The Silver Cross mother, Ren Samson Dow, laid a wreath by the cenotaph. Her son, Matthew Dow, died in Afghanistan. She has told CTV News that she is carrying on his mission by promoting education for women and girls in that country.
The sincerity with which it's presented. There isn't a phony bone within 100 yards. Everybody enjoys participating and they put their very best in it. It's a great spectacle. We should be very proud of it.
The CF-18s flying overhead, a day to say thank you to them. Joyce Napier, CTV News, Ottawa.
The annual Remembrance Day ceremonies were marred today by an awkward collision with the world of hockey. One of Canada's most recognizable sports commentators has lost his job. Sportsnet today firing Don Cherry for making ignorant and offensive comments about immigrants. The controversial co-host of Coach's Corner is famous for his loud suits and even louder opinions. The 85-year-old suggested immigrants, who he called "you people," are disrespecting veterans by not wearing poppies. As you can imagine, reaction has been fast and furious. CTV's Bob Belichico reports.
Well, I got something to say, I'll say it.
For nearly 40 years, Don Cherry has been saying what he wants on Hockey Night in Canada, but not anymore. Sportsnet President Bart Yabsley issued a statement Monday which read, in part, "It has been decided it is the right time for him to immediately step down." The firing comes 2 days after the 85-year-old Cherry seemed to single out new immigrants who do not wear a poppy in support of the Canadian Armed Forces.
You people love you that come here, whatever it is. You love our way of life. You love our milk and honey. At least you could pay a couple of bucks for poppies or something like that.
And the segment is all anyone was talking about on Monday.
While I appreciate his comments as a veteran to encourage people to wear a poppy, I don't know how you can distinguish who is an immigrant and who is not.
We're all immigrants. My family came from a different country to be here, so we're all immigrants. Get thicker skin. Don't be offended.
He's bombastic. He likes to throw things up in the air, and often it rebounds on him.
The Canadian Broadcasting Standards Council said it was so overloaded with complaints about the segment that it exceeded the organization's technical processing capacity.
It's typical of him. He throws it out there, and like many other people, he likes to pull it back, but can't.
Cherry's co-host, Ron McLean, issued an apology on Sunday, but Cherry has not.
Guy's a great guy, does wonderful things for the military, but it's not about certain people, it's about everybody should be wearing poppies.
Did he mobilize people? We're discussing it right now. So yes, he did.
But most of the people we talked to agree that Cherry could have delivered the message differently.
If the words were, "Please wear a poppy out of respect for our veterans," regardless of who you are, that works well. But I think his words were inappropriately placed and were received badly by a lot of Canadians.
Bob Belichico, CTV News.
And our CTV cameras hit the streets this afternoon to find out how London residents feel about Cherry's comments.
He's a little harsh in his comments, but maybe not too far off the truth, but he is, when he gets fired for it, I don't know, he might be rightly so done then.
I absolutely disagree with Don Cherry. Don Cherry, at 85 years old, should know better. He's lived in Canada all his life, and he should know that there are lots of immigrants in this country who are very loyal to Canada, and he had no right to disparage them in his comments.
He's well known for shooting off his mouth, and he's been doing it for years. I don't think he's respected as someone who's really well informed.
I think that, for one, you shouldn't single out immigrants compared to non-immigrants. There's a lot of people who choose to wear the poppy or not wear the poppy, and I don't think you should single out immigrants specifically.
To other news, winter is still over a month.